NES Matt TV said, who do you main in Smash Bros? I main Shulk. So, NES Matt TV mains Shulk. Well, I actually switched mains a bit. Right now, and it'll probably stay this way, I'm probably going to enter Shine with this main. It's Cloud. For a really long time, I mained Little Mac. Now, I started the game off with Marth because I've been a like Marth. I would still consider my true main as far back as Melee because I played him in Melee and Brawl and Smash 4. But then as my friends and I started getting more competitive with Smash 4, I was using the character so much that I felt like I was getting very stale, and I was with him, so I wanted to experiment with a few different characters. I had gone to like Jigglypuff at one point. I was really good with Jigglypuff in Smash 4 at one point. And then I think I was Roy. But then I went to Little Mac, and I don't exactly remember why I settled on him. I think it was because at the time there was this stigma about the character that he was bad, and no one really used him, and I'm like, yo. So I was a Mac main for a really long time. I think kind of the same thing that happened with Marth happened with Little Mac at some point, where we were just playing the game so much that he just got very stale, and I used to be able to get my friends quite a bit with the down tilt KO punch combo, but then they started figuring out how to avoid that, and soon enough I couldn't really land the KO punch at all. And you know, when you play with your friends, it's not necessarily a representation of tournament play because your friends know your play style and, you know, what works against you and what doesn't, whereas strangers in a tournament don't know that. But when I was versing my friends and I was missing KO punches constantly and losing constantly with Little Mac, I almost felt like it was starting to hurt my overall Mac game. Because, if I can't land KO punches and practice my down tilt KO punch combo in friendlies, how am I going to be able to land that in an actual tournament match? So then I think at some point, like, Cloud had come out, and I really liked how Cloud looked and just the way he moved originally, like, before I started to main him. So then as Little Mac was kind of dying out, I'm like, you want to know what? I'm going to try Cloud. And I tried Cloud, and I just really liked him. And my friends and I don't really play Smash 4 that much anymore. We kind of just, you know, we just stopped playing it really. But the last stuff that we really did with it, you know, I remember being really confident with Cloud, and that had been after I was using him for maybe like a year or a year and a half or something. So, yeah, Cloud is still my main, and I think, like I said, I'll probably enter Shine with Cloud as well. Oh, Last Gamer 64 Last said, LSuperSonicQ, if you use Mario right, he can be deadly. You want to know what? I've actually never really used Mario in Smash 4, but in Melee, Mario actually is kind of my main now. Like I said, Marth will always be my, like, true main, but the thing, why I dropped Marth in Melee when I was getting competitive into Melee, was because Marth was way too technical, and I just didn't want to spend the time, like, learning all the really high-level techniques with him. You know, and in addition to that, kind of a lot of people know how to fight him because he's one of the top tier characters, so you kind of know the ins and outs of Marth, you know, if you play Melee at a competitive level. But Mario didn't really take as much effort to learn his different combos and stuff. Not as many people have the matchup experience, and I like the idea of Mario being like, you know, like the low tier underdog that no one really expects to, you know, to play well. And I did have some pretty good victories with Mario and stuff. So, Mario is kind of my Melee main, I guess. And also, I kind of like the whole mentality of, like, it's basic Mario. Like, you can't get any more, like, uncreative than that when it comes to Smash. Like, never mind all these, like, crazy colored characters, like, with the palette swaps and all this, like, you know, all these different mains. Just basic color Mario, almost like as a joke, you know, just like basic. And that actually came about because the whole Mario main thing in Melee came about not only because of the Marth thing, but I had first picked up Mario because I was over my friend's house. He was in the chat a couple of years ago. Maybe some of you guys remember him. It was Paul. Yeah, I think he's changed his name from Phoenix3396 to Paul. So Paul was in the chat, and I was over his house, and we were playing Melee, and I think I was battling his brother, and I kept beating with Marth. So he either said something to me, or I made like a joke to myself, and I said, "I bet I can beat you with Mario, basic Mario, just default color Mario." And yeah, I wrecked him. So that's kind of how that came about. Is just basic Mario can like wreck people. So that's that.